Monster Hunter Now is a brand new mobile game from the developers of Pokemon Go, Niantic, and the developers of Monster Hunter, Capcom. But how many monsters are in the game and which ones are they? Well, let's go over that together. And don't forget to go pre-register for the game because you have until basically September 1st to get pre-registration rewards. Monster Hunter Now's Instagram just announced that we collectively passed 500,000 pre-registrations. So let's keep going so we can earn more rewards. Links are in the description if you want to go pre-register. Now I'm gonna go get changed and I'm gonna take you with me on a walk while we discuss which monsters are in the game. So I'm taking my kids to a river beach nearby, and I thought this was a good time to discuss the different monsters that will be in the game and also biomes. So the first monster revealed on the list was Great Jagras. And since that's kind of like a low level, like the first big monster you fight in Monster Hunter World, then I think it's probably gonna be in like standard environments, pretty much anywhere you go. On top of being just pretty much anywhere, Great Jagras lives generally in the forest, and on top of Great Jagras being in the forest biome, you might find things like Puke Puke and Tobi-Kadachi, as well as Rathalos and Rathian. In the forest, you'll also be able to find Anjanath and possibly Kuruyaku, but both of them also frequent the desert. Also in the desert, you can find monsters like Diablos and Baroth. But Baroth also like to frequent water biomes like this, where you'll also find Giratotus. And in the sky, you'll find monsters like Paolumu and Legiana, but also possibly Rathalos and Rathian again. I obviously don't think the sky is going to be its own biome, but in Monster Hunter it kind of is. I think it may be influenced by something like windy weather. Is weather even going to be a factor in this game? I think it probably is going to be, based on Pokemon Go, and Niantic's making it. So maybe you'll find these monsters in windy weather? And it just started raining, so that made me think about something like creatures that normally are in like the Rotten Vale, like Great Gyros. Are they gonna show up more at nighttime or in the rain or something? And are they gonna add more creatures from the Rotten Vale, like Odogoran? That's like one of my favorite monsters in all of Monster Hunter, especially the armor. It looks amazing, the skills are amazing, and he's really fun to fight. And we'll go over a little bit more once I get out of this rain and back to my house. And I know what you're thinking. That's kind of a small list, but that's because it is. And for a second I was getting a little worried, but I actually saw during this showcase itself that there were other monsters on the map. During the Monster Hunter Now showcase, there's a section where Nozomi joins the developers and links up for multiplayer to fight a Tobi-Kadachi, which looks super dope. But what's that on the map? Enhance! Enhance, I said! That, my friends, is a Barnos. It's a small flying wyvern from Monster Hunter World. And it's basically a small, pesky little wyvern that flies by and hits you. In the food chain, you can think of it as like a remora or something, feeding off the scraps of larger monsters. But just from that small inclusion, it shows me that there are a bunch of smaller monsters that you'll be able to fight also. Plus, there are some leaks on YouTube, and I already saw that they were fighting small Jagras. In those same leaks, I also saw Raffinos, which are very similar to Barnos. And I also saw Shamos. So those are definitely going to be like the trash monsters that you go and you hit 3 times and then you're back out of the encounter. Because in that interview that I covered in a previous video, they were talking about how the encounters were like only a couple seconds. But in the Monster Hunter Now showcase, they said that it was only a 75-minute timer. So the interview was obviously referring to those smaller monsters while they were just highlighting the bigger monsters in the showcase. So to recap really quick, every monster that I've been able to confirm that's in Monster Hunter Now is Great Jagras, Puke Puke, Rathian, Paolumu, Baroth, Giratotus, Tobi-Kadachi, Kuruyaku, Great Gyros, Anjanath, Legiana, Diablos, and Rathalos. Those are the large monsters. And then for the smaller monsters, I've been able to personally confirm Jagras, Barnos, Shamos, and Raffinos. If there's the Great Gyros, then I'm assuming that there's definitely gonna be the regular Gyros. And then what's a Monster Hunter game without like the raptor type, like Jaggy or Velosprey or Ioprey or any of those guys? So even if they're not at launch, there's no way they're not adding them later. That's like the default like, I'm not a beginner anymore armor. As you probably already know,
every single monster on this list is centered to Monster Hunter World. And that's primarily because that is the most popular Monster Hunter to date. Monster Hunter was already pretty huge, but Monster Hunter World really pushed the limits of like the popularity of Monster Hunter. And Monster Hunter Rise is amazing and I love it and I play it like every day, but it's nothing compared to Monster Hunter World. But like I asked earlier about a Dogoran, will there be more monsters? Yes. During the showcase, Miss Yuzuriha asked the developers pretty bluntly, like I was saying before, like, hey, isn't that kind of a small list? Will there be more monsters? And they said yes.
モンスターハンター Now に関してはあくまでモンスターハンターシリーズでの、プロジェクトと考えてますので、モンスターハンターワールド以外からも、モンスターが出てくることを想定しています。
リリース後もどんどんアップデートされていく中で、どのモンスターが来るのかなっていうのはお楽しみポイントかなっていうふうに。
So not only will they be adding more monsters from Monster Hunter World, but also monsters from outside of Monster Hunter World. So that honestly puts me at ease and like opens up the possibilities to so many monsters. Because Pokemon Go launched with 150 Pokemon because it was the original 150, and even that after a few weeks felt like kind of a small roster. Now Monster Hunter Now's gameplay is different, and so the encounters last longer and you're gonna have to like kill a bunch of them and grind for them, but still after a few weeks only 13 monsters is going to feel like a very small variety. But what is cool is there is a star ranking system in this for each monster, just like in the main series. So if you fight like a 1-star Rathalos or a 5-star Rathalos, you're going to have a very different fight on your hands. So that will encourage you to build up your armors and weapons. And again, I've been reading the comments of people who have the game already in the beta tests, and they were saying that their movesets also change and get a lot faster and stronger and different as the stars grow. So that's so awesome to hear, because I really want it to be like a challenging game, and I want it to be something that feels, you know, satisfying to conquer, just like normal Monster Hunter. I really hope there's no like limits to doing something like a naked run where you just have your weapon and you take off all the rest of your armor and you try to fight a really challenging monster. If it's that action oriented, then I'm gonna be super happy and satisfied with this game. It would be really annoying if there was like a limit of like,
you can't fight this monster because you don't have enough gear on.
And she even asked if there would be an original monster for this game. And they said yes.
オリジナルモンスター皆さんね期待されると思うんですけど、
してます。
もちろんね競技はさせていただきます正直。でオリジナルモンスターって言ってもやっぱりしっかりした設定とか、この、モンスターハンターナウに出てきても違和感なかったりとかで遊びが他のモンスターと違うちゃんと違うかったりとかしっかり考えられたものとして登場させたいと思ってますので、今協議中です。はい、
そうですね。絶賛、もうせっかくならモンハンナウならではの全く新しいモンスターにできたらなっていうところでいろいろ相談させていただいているところですね。
もちろんです。今朝もちょっとだけ
そうちょうどね。
And so we know there's going to be an original monster, and we know that there's a massive roster of monsters that they can add, but certain types of monsters that I haven't seen are things like herbivores or other cats. Like, will there be Anteka, Aptonoth, Apsaros, Kelbies? I also didn't see any bugs. Will there be like Vespoid, Hornitar? And what about like different cats like Grimalkin and Bao Bao? It remains to be seen, but I know that Capcom is taking this really serious and putting their name on it, so I'm hoping that it's a really solid game, and I know they're gonna drip feed monsters into the game, but I hope it's like on a reasonable basis. I feel like the update schedule of Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter World was pretty quick, so hopefully it's gonna be similar to that. I'm really hoping that the biomes do play a part like in Pokemon Go. I thought that was one of the coolest things, to where like when I would go to the beach, I would see so many more water Pokemon. So if you really are like hunting a specific type of monster and you wanna get more gear for that, you can like go to the beach and just grind out Gyarados and then maybe like Plesioth in the future and things like that. With Pokemon Go, there's always like this dichotomy of players of like, oh, I want it to be so easy and I want all of the Pokemon to come to my house and have like every type of Pokemon. But for me, I always thought that was like the novelty of the game of like, I'm gonna go to like kind of a desert area and travel there and then see like completely different Pokemon. That's awesome. As if Pokemon were actually in the real world. So I'm hoping it's like that for Monster Hunter. But judging by the maps, it looks like each biome is like really close to each other. So I guess it's like the best of both worlds. They did say that they were really trying to focus on making the game much more playable for rural players, which is sick. It's just really cool to hear them say that in like this kind of interview. Elder Dragons still have yet to be seen, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it like raids or something like a big event in the game. So I'm hyped for that. I think that'll be awesome. But that's about it for this video. What monster are you personally excited for on this list? I am sort of just like a classic Rathalos and Rathian guy. I love poison weapons, I love fire weapons. ones, I'm hyped to hunt them. And what monster do you want to see added to this list? I personally love the Espinas that came from Frontier and was added in Rise because I never hunted that. But again, Poison and Fire together in dual blades is sick in Rise. But I also want to see Odogoran, like I was saying. I also love Tetsukabra. I just love those like demonic looking armors. Please let me know in the comments down below. Please like the video and subscribe so you can go on this hunting journey with me. Until next time, see you later, hunters.